All right, well, welcome everyone to this conversation online. My name is Simon Bevy. This is Sober Sunday, Stimulating Conversations with me. We are glad to host this out of Transform Nations, and we're going to be talking more about what we do at Transform Nations, but great vision on us having healthy families and changing communities. We have been having a conversation around money. We have talked about financial planning. We've talked about different aspects of money. And today I'm very excited for us to have conversations around investments, the opportunities available, especially as we slowly pull out of, I think some of the countries are almost out of the COVID-19, having achieved a level of immunity because of the inoculations that they have had. But the majority of the nations, we are still pulling out of this. And the challenges continue. The global economy is still uncertain in many ways, and the impact is still being felt. And in Africa, we probably still have another year or two before the negative impacts begin to lift. So with all of that reality, what are the investment opportunities available and what should we be looking out for? I'm excited to have a wonderful panel here. Rena Hicks is no strange to us here. She's been here many times. She's an author, she's written a book, she's an investment coach, and several other things, a mother, a wife. Rena Hicks, we are glad to have you here. Please go ahead and just say a little bit more about yourself and even mention the title of your book.
Thank you so much, Pastor Simon. Good evening, everyone, wherever you're watching from. It's a real pleasure to have you here. My name is Rena Hicks, as Mr. Simon Bevy has said. I'm an investment banker, and I also am an entrepreneur and a personal finance enthusiast. I have written a book. It's called Money Wise, Create, Grow, and Preserve Wealth. And I also have an online program called Investable that we put together. It's really great to be here this evening. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Rena. We're glad to have you here. And then someone I've been longing to have in this show, and I'm finally glad that he is here. I see his work every week on television. Great things he is doing with property and investment in that area. And we're glad to have you here, Mr. George Washuri. Yeah, you run Optiven, CEO of Optiven. I mean, you know, he will explain a lot more about what they do. I don't want to do them a disservice. But Mr. George, welcome. We're very glad that you're here.
Well, thank you, Simon Bevy, and thank you, Rena Hicks, and all those who are listening on different platforms. My name is George Washuri. I work with Optiven Real Estate. I'm also a chairman and the foundation and the trustee of the Optiven Foundation, whereby we do a lot of community work on not on a seasonal basis, but on daily basis. We have various programs on the foundation, like education. We have a program for girls. We have a program for physically challenged. I'm also an author. I've authored 3 books. The third book is called Optiven Way, on mentoring entrepreneurs on how they can run their organizations. We are launching it next month. The first book is my story, Soaring Like an Eagle. The second one is How to Start Small and Build an Empire, is tricks on how businesses can be able to grow. And I am happy to be here on this Super Sunday, or Sober Sunday. Should we call it Super Sunday, Sober Sunday? So thank you, Simon Bevy, for this opportunity. And we are extremely excited. I work with Optiven, and we say that our vision is to be the champions of socio-economic transformation. And we have 2 goals: to create 30,000 jobs by the year 2030. Goal number 2 is to ensure that we create or we develop 300,000 homes by the year 2030. Thank you, Pastor.
Wow, excellent. I need to own one of those 30,000 homes. I need to talk to you. after this. But we're glad to have you. Those of you who are joining us online, please invite your friends and family. We're going to have a great conversation, as you can tell. We also want to ask you to host a watch party. We are live on the different pages we presented here. And we're going to be looking and checking some of your comments. So please ask questions, give us some of your comments, and let's get talking. We only have about an hour, so here we go. Rena Hicks, why don't you start us off by explaining what to you investment is? Because there are people who say, I'm investing in a car, I'm investing in a computer or in a television. But what's investment? How would you define that?
So the way that I define investments or investing is putting your money in something that will either grow in value or bring in cash flows, either immediately or some point in the future. So there is value that then comes either immediately or later in this thing that you purchase, is simply put. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. George, what do you add to that? What's investment? George, you can hear me? How would you define investment for yourself? George, can you hear us?
Yes, now you're back. Yes.
Okay, okay, go ahead. So I was asking how you would define investing or investment.
Wow, I have a personal definition that may not be found in books. And for me, I believe that investment is basically identifying and using your gifts, your talents, your resources for a positive cause that can change the society. But definitely, the way our people understand investment is what Rena Hicks has said, that you put money in anticipation of profit, or other people define it as owning an asset with the aim of generating an asset. You own a home, you want to rent it and get money out of it. You invest in boats, you get money out of it. And those are different definitions. Of course, the layman may define these as appreciation of an asset that they bought, and they are saying, hey, I have a property here and there, and I bought it at 100,000, now it's $1 million or 2 million. So that's what people say investment.
Excellent. So, Rena Hicks, I think what we are saying, when you buy a car, it's probably not an investment. You know, there are some things people think are investments, but they are not really. You can mention a few, Rena? This is what you do, helping and advising people.
Yeah. So a car can be an investment, because if I decide to buy a car and I rent it out as an Uber, or use it for generating an income, it can be an asset or an investment. But if I'm not, then, and it's just sitting there, it's taking me, it can also be an investment if it's enabling me to be more efficient in my ability to generate an income. But in as far as looking at it on its own as an investment, not really. Some of the things that people can sort of invest in, and not, sometimes you actually even have an asset that sits in your home and you don't even look at it as an investment, but it can actually generate an income for you. The other day, I was having a conversation with a couple who went through a very challenging season some years back. And, husband got fired, wife not in a job, have a child, and, have bills to pay, rent to pay. And so what they did was, they looked and asked themselves, what can we do? They sold everything they could until they were on bare minimum. And they realized they have something. They had a washing machine. And so even if it was not high level, washing machine, it could wash clothes. And so they went around their neighborhood and mentioned to their neighbors, by the way, we can do laundry. And the neighborhood tended to have younger people, bachelors who hate washing clothes. And so they were able to generate an income from their washing machine. So surprisingly, in some instances, a washing machine is not an investment, but it can be an investment, because it can help generate and help the community around you, as George has said, by being able to provide a service. Yeah. So I think investing should not be seen as something complex. It can be even a chicken. right? A hen. It's just, how can I turn what I have already in my hand, my abilities, my skills, my talents, into something that can generate for me a better life or improve my family's life, is what, some of the examples I would give. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Very well put. George, you started from very little and you built an empire. And I'm sure at the very beginnings of it was investment. How was that?
Yes, it was a very interesting journey, because I started as an agent selling other people's assets to get some income. Later, it went on for the last 20 years. Things are different, but for the first 10 years, it was not easy handling other people's assets. You add a markup and then you sell, make your margin. But definitely nowadays we do our own. And I would say that when people talk about land investment or real estate investments, there are various aspects. When you talk about real estate investments, maybe you are referring to land, you are referring to commercial real estate, you are referring to residential real estate, you are referring to warehousing. So real estate is huge. And that's why you find that there are a lot of players out there. They say that we have about 10,000 people doing real estate in Kenya. And of course, the numbers are bigger if you look across Africa. Yes.
Okay. So for you, you started as an agent, then now went into investing directly in property, in real estate.
Yes, that's how we started, but that is one of my business. Of course, I did other things in terms of investment. I did other businesses that did not pick up. As Rina is saying, I was literally doing the car hire. The business collapsed. I did water packaging. The business collapsed. I did stationery. The business not pick up. I did a salon, barber, shaving people, photography. I did over 15 businesses that did not pick. They collapsed. So Optiven is the 16th one. And I thank God that God has been faithful. Now it has really moved on. It's now bigger than George. Things happen without really me participating. And I really thank God for his favor. Back to Simon.
Well, it's good to know that. I didn't know that you had tried quite a few businesses that did not work. And that's an encouraging thing, because I think many people want to invest in one thing and make the millions, and they don't realize it takes time. And I'm sure through those failures, you are learning more what not to do and how to do it differently. As John Maxwell says, you need to fail forward, learn from your mistakes, right?
Yes.
Excellent. Yeah, you want to say add something before we come to Rina?
Yes, you know, every time I failed, I learned something. And I say that failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part and parcel of success, because every time you fail, you learn something. I remember the time I lost 5 million on a land deal, and I learned my lessons. And one of the lessons I learned is that, you know, when you have resources, you are not the owner, you are the custodian of God's resources. And I also learned to respect people, and also to know that when you have resources, don't be proud, because resources can come and they can also disappear with the same rate. And, you know, they came. So it's very important that even as we manage these resources, there are some lessons that we learned. And those are some of the lessons that I learned. And I tell people that managing a business, it's not a walk in the park, because you are balancing people, you are balancing money, you are balancing the communities, you are balancing the government road tax. You know, they see an entrepreneur, they see money, so you have to balance a lot of things. But I'm happy that such a program is going to support, to help our entrepreneurs, our business people, our career people, to know that it is possible. If George did it, they can do it even better.
Excellent. Thank you, George. Rina, let's get back to you. So a lot of people are waiting to know, so where can I put the little money that I have? What are some of the opportunities that you advise people in your investment banking and coaching? And what are some of the opportunities right now, this crucial, difficult season, that people can put in a little extra money that they have?
Yeah. So the first one is it's important for us to increase our cash reserves. We need to increase our cash reserves because, you know, like you said, it might take us a little bit longer for, you know, this situation to lift and for the economy to pick up properly in a way that we can feel it as the wananchi. And so it's important for us to put some cash aside in a safe place so that if an emergency occurs, then I have somewhere where I can sort of go and get this money. So the opportunity there is to actually put money in what we call a money market fund. I don't know whether you can hear me. Is my internet okay? Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, so a money market fund, it's a place, it's an investment opportunity that exists, very simple. Companies that are called asset management companies pool funds together. They pool funds from investors such as retailers, that's you and me, high net worth investors, institutions, pension funds, and invest in short-term opportunities. And it's so easy to get in. You only need, in some cases, 2,000 shillings, in another case, 5,000. I know one that if you have 100 shillings, you can invest in a money market fund and earn 9 to 10% interest per annum on your money. It's a great place to park money. So that's one of the opportunities I would say. Instead of putting money in your bank account where you're earning 0 or 2%, or you know, just not having it in a place where it's earning anything, a money market fund is a great place to build cash reserves. Other opportunities that are available. So first of all, maybe let me put it this way. There's 5 main asset classes. And so what that means is that financial people have grouped investments into 5 main areas, just for convenience of being able to sort of talk about them, evaluate them. And they've grouped them in such a way that these groups either have similar characteristics, are taxed in a similar way, or the government sort of considers them in a certain manner. So the first one is cash and cash-like assets. And so that's where the money market fund exists. You know, things like bank accounts, fixed deposits, those sorts of things would fall under cash and cash-like assets. And then you have fixed income investments. So fixed income investments are investments where you put money into an asset that pays you back periodically, a fixed interest over a period of time. So for example, a treasury bond, corporate bonds. So let me describe the treasury bond, for example. So the government borrows money from us. They borrow money from the public in order to provide the services that they need to provide as a government. And so they give us the opportunity to give them money, lend them money, and they will pay us back at an interest over a period of time. So now you can borrow this money or lend them money rather for the different periods of time. And so they pay really well, by the way. So like the last, there's one called an infrastructure bond where the government borrows money from the public and pays back without any tax. And that's the incentive. The last one they issued, the return was about, the coupon or the interest was about 12.6% per annum, tax-free. So every interest earning anything, there's usually a tax component. And on this one, there's no tax. And it's for 18 years. So that's another place you can actually invest money because it is safe. You will not lose your money, you know, because it's the government that sort of, you know, manages it. And if they don't have the money, they'll print the money and you will get it back. So that's another alternative investment that you can consider. So there's cash and cash-like assets.
Is that, yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
the government bonds, what you just mentioned, the treasury bills, bonds,
yeah.
Are they long-term?
Yes, they are long-term, from 2 years to about 30 years. But you can always buy in, in the secondary market, the ones that are trading in the market. Somebody bought, they have 3 years to maturity, they want to sell because they need money now. You can actually invest in those that are available in the market for sale.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So there's others. I mean, there's stocks as well, the stock market, not, you know, both in Kenya and overseas as well. You know, now what has happened is with digitization, financial services have become open. You can invest anywhere in the world, really, that you want to, whether that's in the UK or in the US, you can invest in all kinds of assets now. So stocks are another asset class. Starting your business as well.
Maybe talking about stocks, huh?
Yeah.
Is it advisable to get into stocks at a time like this? With what's
so
going
actually, now what we've seen is there's actually been an increase in the value of stocks, by the way. So for example, I remember in March when the government announced that COVID had come to Kenya, there was such a shock. And it was like, oh my God, in one day, for the first time I think in my memory, we had what we call a market halt, because the market had gone down. It crashed so fast that the stock market basically switched off and said, guys, take a breather. Let's process this first, because everybody was just selling, like the world is coming to an end. And at that time, I remember Safaricom fell to 23 shillings. This is in March. So if that was the time to buy, you buy when the stock market is very low, right? Or when there's fear, or let me say when there's fear, because you recognize, oh my gosh, an announcement has been made. If you can process it quickly and sort of see the opportunity, then you're able to buy then. The problem is that we tend to buy when everybody's excited. Yeah, now Safaricom is at 42 shillings. Let me invest now. Not that it's a bad time, it's just that it's already gone up, from 23 shillings within about a year and a half. It's at 40 now. So people getting in now, if it doesn't continue going up in that sort of rate, people will say the stocks don't work, they're not a good investment, and so on. And it looks like George has dropped off.
Yeah, it's okay. I think he will rejoin shortly.
Okay. Yeah. So that's the third one.
Yeah, so you was talking about stocks is another one.
Yes.
Keep going.
So they had said cash and cash-like assets. We have fixed income investments, where that's bonds. I give just one example. There's others, but bonds is one example. Then you have stocks. Within stocks, there's also stocks don't necessarily mean you're buying shares that are listed. You can invest in somebody else's business. Like now, for example, today, George can give us an opportunity to invest in his business. Maybe he wants to raise capital to develop a certain project and says, I am actually willing to cede some shareholding if you would invest in my company. That's investing in stocks, except it's in a private business, and that's called private equity. Or just, it could be your chama also. That's also investing in stocks. If your chama is formally registered, it's in a limited company and you have shares in it, that's stocks also. Then you have real estate, which is where George is the expert, where you invest you can invest in real estate in like 4 different ways. You can buy land, develop it and sell. You can buy units or develop them and rent out, for the income. That's another way. You can decide to buy land, subdivide and sell. And I think that's a business that Optiven is in. So they're in land banking. Or you could invest in what we call Reits, or real estate investment trusts, which are sort of like shares. You buy a unit in a real estate project that is listed on the exchange, and you can actually do that now. And the dividend that you earn is actually the rental income that comes from the unit, because by law, anybody who issues a real estate investment trust is required to distribute 80% of the rental income they receive to the unit holders. Yeah, so within real estate, I think there is an opportunity, because we have seen a decrease in demand for real estate right now for various reasons. People have lost jobs. When you look at the paper on a Monday and look at how many people are being auctioned in this country, just from different counties, that a lot of people are having to sell their property because they don't have money, or business did not work out, their businesses, the revenues are not the same. And so a lot of people are selling. And it's in that market, in that environment, when you find opportunities, when everybody is afraid. So there are opportunities there as well. Yeah. And then you have alternative investment. Yeah. And we can go into that. I'll let George say a few things.
Yeah, we're going to get back into that, but very good summary. We're glad to have you back, George. We had lost you a little bit, but glad you're back. While you were away, Rina did a summary of some of the opportunities for investment. But we would love for you to say more about real estate. What are the opportunities around real estate? That's what you've been doing for a while. You know this in and out. What are the opportunities? What are the dangers? What are the factors to consider?
Wow, thank you, Simon, and our listeners, and Rina Hicks, thank you for that. Yes, we are in the field of real estate, and basically we focus on land development, land investment, whereby we buy land and not only subdivide and sell, but also add value to it. We ensure that when Simon comes in, when Irina comes in, the land has got water, has got power, has got trees planted. Right now, we are doing the Go Green initiative. You know, everything is there for you just to set up a home either for living or for rental. And we have discovered that there is a lot of interest, especially for open spaces, whereby people are looking for areas like Kitengela, areas like Kiambu, areas like Fikalod, whereby they can buy their own compound and set up a home. That they have a home here, a back garden, and somewhere to park. And we have seen somehow during COVID increase in terms of people purchasing land for development. If you go to a project in Kitengela called Victory Gardens, the rate of construction is higher than the way it was before COVID. Funny enough, you go to Amani Reach, Kiambu, there are so many people doing construction. And the thing is, they are telling us that right now people are working from home. So those in career, they have some space to go and work. However, there are some areas that are affected. Areas like office spaces. You know, right now, the people who are building homes for, they are saying, hey, George, I want 3-bedroom plus an office. That means that the people who have been renting offices, they have been affected. People doing commercial real estate, definitely they are affected. But people doing residential real estate, actually a home is like food. It's a necessity. And that's the point that 67% of our Kenyan people, they are living in the informal sector. And these guys have got dreams. Their dreams is one time to have a home. And that's why Optiven, that's the area we are playing. That's the area we are in. And we have seen a bit of an increase in terms of uptick. But definitely, there are other areas that have been affected. Thank you, Simon.
Okay. Maybe, George, what you could do is also tell us one of your you can tell us one of your projects of investment that our listeners may be interested in. You could say a few things about it.
Wow, thank you.
If we still have you.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, we have a interesting development. You know, nowadays we are calling them green projects because we are putting water systems, we are putting recycling technologies to recycle that water, planting thousands of trees. And one of the award-winning projects is in Kitengela. It's called Victory Gardens. Victory Gardens, it's a 117-acre development with about big space for families. And we have been selling this property for a while now, and there are so many people who are building. Just next to it, there's Happy Gardens near KAG University, Kenya Assemblies of God University, 1.5 kilometers off the tarmac. It's called Happy Gardens, and you can see it on www.optiven.co.ke. And then you have Amani Reach, the place of peace, where families live in peace in Kiambu, whereby people are really, really building. This is epic because you're doing cable roads, we are doing underground power, we're also doing a solar street lighting. So it's basically a green project, and it's a fantastic project. And then finally, we have one in Machakos called the Garden of Joy with similar facilities, solar street light, roads done, water done. And we have seen a lot of Kenyan people building. And if you are interested, you can just call 0790-300-300 or visit us on website www.optiven.co.ke, or you just come and visit us in Absa Plaza, Loiter Street. We are there, and we are going to receive you very well.
The one you're saying in Machakos, is it the one on Kangundo Road?
Yes, that's the one. That's the one called Garden of Joy. Very interesting project right there.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you very much. I think thank you for the many people have joined us from different places. Just want to pause a little and just to remind you of some of our programs coming up in Transform Nations. This week, we are launching quite a few programs. We have Intentional Dad program. Those of you are dads, you know, this is a very good program. We get to talk about what it means to father and raise our children well, to be a five-star general in our homes. And we actually begin tomorrow night, that is 26th of July. And all these details are on our page. We also have EZA, which is like the Woman Enough program. It starts this weekend, this coming week. this Thursday and Saturday. Again, all of this is online, and you could be able to come in. We have Boys to Men, which is going to be happening in August. We have Mothers of Sons, and we have Intentional Mom program as well, beginning this week, and Man Enough program starting in 2 weeks. So all of these details are on our page. Please check out and sign up. George, I just came out of graduating a few men out of Man Enough a few minutes ago, and I was grateful. There are some men from Uganda and a few other places, and we have all learned together the last 8 weeks. So it was amazing to see their wives saying how these men have changed, their mothers say how they're excited about what has happened with the men. So we just want to encourage all of you who want to get involved in any of those programs to come in. So Rina, we are beginning to hear these alternative investment opportunities, and I know soon you're going to be telling us also the biblical entrepreneurship and what you've learned out of it. But before then, this alternative, I hear about Bitcoins and different other online investments. There are many people who are skeptical about that and just don't get it or understand what it's about.
Yeah, it's not very easy to understand because we haven't had it for very long. I think 2008 was when it sort of, I think there's been digital currency or work around decentralized digital currencies for a long time. But in 2008 was when, during the financial crisis, we saw a huge rise in interest in digital or decentralized currency, because 2008, we saw the US government bail out various organizations, privately owned businesses that were huge, big banks that were going under, and the government, had this bailout program for all these institutions. But, the effect of that is that when the government prints money, then the value of your money decreases. So like we've seen in Venezuela, for example, I think it started in 2015, and their currency, they moved from counting cash to weighing it because inflation went to like 10 million%. Like, it was just insane. You buy bread in the morning, in the evening, you can't afford it, similar to what happened in Zimbabwe. And so when that happened in the US, I think that, people just sort of started saying this thing of having a centralized party, like the government deciding how much the currency is worth and how much of it is going to be in circulation, and even banks keeping a record, and they're the ones who keep a record, depending on where you bank, Pastor Simon. If it is somewhere like Standard Chartered, if Standard Chartered decided to do something and something like take 50 cents out of every single account that is there, we will not notice. Right. So there's several things that happen with those sort of centralized environments, with one party having control and complete control of what happens, that made people start to feel, no, this is not right, and this is not how it should happen. It needs to be transparent. People should be able to be in an environment where you cannot make any changes into the records that exist without all of us being in agreement. And that's how Bitcoin came to be. It's a decentralized digital currency that emerged out of that whole disadvantage of having a centralized party. Now, it is not going to go away. And cryptocurrency generally is not going anywhere. I think what we need to do as a people is to start understanding it, because it is something, it's an asset class in and of itself. In fact, within crypto, there are thousands of cryptocurrencies, thousands. And even within there are those that are mature and good to invest in, and there are those that are new and sort of, there you have mature stocks, and then you have high growth stocks. It's the same. And so I would encourage people to sort of take time to just sort of understand what it is and how it works. And most importantly, understand blockchain as a technology, because that is what sort of fuels the growth of cryptocurrency. And as we adopt these technologies, I think, it presents a very interesting opportunity. Bitcoin, for example, let me just sort of share the opportunity. What happens, and the reason people are skeptical, is because of volatility. And when something is new, And even the stock market in general, you find prices start to increase, prices continue to increase. And when it starts increasing significantly, that's when people are like, oh my gosh, I think I need to get into this thing. It's doing really well. And people enter at the peak and then it collapses. So I don't know whether you remember in 2017, I think it was 2017, I think it was a Bitcoin at that time was like $4,000. Within a year, it went to $20,000. And a lot of people went into Bitcoin at that time when it was $20,000. That's when we had all these multi-level marketing schemes coming and saying, buy Bitcoin, we are mining Bitcoin. And because of the hype and excitement, then people got in at that time, and then it crashed and came down to 6,000 or thereabouts again. And then it went up, and so on. People got excited. It got to another high and then came back down again. The most recent high is when it got to about $60,000. And it has now come down. It's at about $33,000 for one Bitcoin at the moment. So I think with Bitcoin and any other asset that you're looking at, and George will correct me if I'm wrong, but I find with assets is you want to buy an asset. Even when, George, when you go looking for land, you don't buy when everybody is buying in that area. You want to go to an area that is not very well known yet, but has huge potential. You want to look at what is the next emerging opportunity and buy then. So even when you're looking at stocks or you're looking at Bitcoin, for example, you want to sort of buy when it has come down by about 20 to 30%, because that's when everybody's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to touch this. And there's an opportunity there. You kind of just need to also take a long-term view. Most of the people who've made wealth are not those who've been in something for 6 months or 3 months. As you heard George, he's been in this for 20 years. And it's by being in it for 20 years, he's understood the ins and the outs of whatever it is he has invested in. And that's how it is with investments. You can't just find, oh, this is hot now, let me get into it. No, this other one is hot now, let me get into it. Take time to understand whatever it is you want to invest in. Understand it well, know the ins and the outs, and then take a long-term view. And you will then know when to buy, when to sell, and we can't invest in everything. So choose the ones that you're most comfortable in and be comfortable to take on a little bit of risk. And for the very risky ones, only take that amount of risk that you're willing to lose, the amount of money, invest the amount of money that you're willing to lose. But make sure you have your safety net in place and you have invested in assets that are not too volatile, but also include a bit of risk in your investment portfolio. I have said a lot. But
no,
yeah.
I have taken notes because there are a lot of people who are like me. So I'm asking some of these questions for myself and others, and I'm taking notes. And George, there are a lot of lessons you've learned for people who are investing. Your journey, the ones that did not succeed and the ones that have succeeded. Before we come back to property, what are some of the lessons you have learned as an investor that we all need to learn?
I think I'll talk like an entrepreneur. I think it's a difference between an investor and an entrepreneur. Because an entrepreneur looks for opportunities to empower other people and also to bring other people to benefit from their work. And that's why that they take bigger risks, crazy risks, to ensure that they are creating opportunities for other people. And over the 20 years, I've learned that in investments, either in land, either in real estate, either in financial markets, it requires patience. As Rina Hicks says, you cannot start something today. You want to buy, we are going to NSE, Nairobi Securities Exchange as Optiven. You want to buy Optiven today and tomorrow you want to sell it. You won't make any money. I tried it, I did not. They say that the people who create wealth, they are those people who are as patient as tortoise. Slowly, buy slowly. Unfortunately, most of us, I was there, you want to make money quickly, you want to drive that car quickly, you want to move quickly. Life is not like that. I've also learned that as we do investments, do your research so well. Talk to people like Rina, inquire, ask questions, because for me, I think I failed so many times because I was not too keen. I was fresh from school, ready to go, ready to create a change, but I was proved wrong, and I learned through the pain of failure. And number 3, I learned that even as you invest, get a mentor. That's why this program is very important. This program is extremely important. A mentor is better than experience. Experience is painful, but a mentor, you go to Pastor Simon, you go to Rina Hicks and ask, by the way, how can I do this? And you can be able to get that experience that Rina Hicks had, and you go a step further. Finally, over 20 years, I have learned that when you're doing investments, it is extremely, extremely important that move other people. You know, people buy people. People buy people. You cannot trade alone. You can not do business alone. And people means relationships. It means the people you work with. For example, at Optiven, we have about 400 employees. We call them partners. These are the people who run Optiven. It's not George Washiori. And once you work with people, definitely you'll be able to succeed on your investment journey. And without much to say, is that these are the lessons you can pick from my second book, How to Start Small and Build an Empire.
Okay. And I'm sure that your books, we can find them on your website or Facebook page.
They are actually on foundation website, www.optivenfoundation.org. The entire money goes support our foundation activities.
Okay, and we're going to get back towards the end on your foundation and just the beauty of that investment, that we need to realize is not just about making money, it's also about investing in lives, and especially from a Christian perspective, that you know, it's not really about life is not defined by what you have, material possessions. It is defined more by the impacts that you make around you. So we're going to get back to you. So Rina Hicks, last time you told us you got an award. You've been part of Nehemiah projects. You've done a wonderful course that we are also encouraging everyone who can to go into. And why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. But before I do that, maybe let me mention, somebody may have been listening to me when I was, going on and on about the different investment options. And they're wondering, okay, so where am I going to learn about all these different things? And how do I contact Rina and how do I move on from here? I'd just like to mention, we have a program that we launched and it's called Investable. And Investable takes somebody through the process of investing. From where do I start? How do I move from here to point B? How do I think about it from my goals? And how do I set goals? And what are my values? And understanding those things and understanding the different investment options and how you can take advantage of them, red flags to watch out for. One of the challenges I found with my own experience is just the mistakes that I made from not knowing and just relying on content that was not relatable and contextualized to my context. But here, anybody who is within Africa and the African context can understand the different investment options, including cryptocurrency, so which we have sort of covered. So we launch on the 26th of August, and people can actually go to moneywise.co.ke/investable, and they'll be able to get details of the course there. If you just join the waitlist, we'll be able to get you the details. Now, I did a program, Pastor Simon, that was life transforming, and it's called Biblical Entrepreneurship. And I think for me, I was in a stage where I felt I needed to just sort of get the right tools to be able to do the right thing. I love what George said. People buy people. And every time he's defined either what an entrepreneur is or an investment or an investor is, he talks about changing lives and being able to set up a business that's not just about you and your little family and your little picket fence, but coming to a place where you carry out business in a godly manner and also impact the environment, the community around you. And that's what the Biblical Entrepreneurship Program does. What it did for me is help me understand who I am. I spent 6 weeks going through the process of understanding my identity. There's a course called Identity and Destiny that I would encourage every single soul. Do you know that research shows that only 3% of the population end up knowing God's purpose for their lives? Isn't that sad? And yet, if you just tapped into the knowledge of who you are where God is concerned, what you are here to do, what your identity and your destiny and your assignment is, then you operate on a totally different level. It doesn't matter what everybody else is doing. You're just on this path, not intimidated by everybody, but knowing that this is what you want to do because God has assigned you to do it. He has equipped you with talents and abilities and skills and the networks to be able to do this thing. So that's the initial part of the program. And then it takes you through doing business in a godly way, using godly principles. And I would encourage people to really consider signing up for it, or at least finding out more information on biblical entrepreneurship. And you can get information from the Nehemiah Kenya Facebook page, and you can learn a lot more about biblical entrepreneurship from there. But yeah, that was my experience, Pastor Simon. It was quite amazing, and it's continuing to be because I'm still in the community.
Excellent. And I was excited just yesterday, 2 days ago, to speak to the community, and we had good discussions and see a lot of people who have done biblical entrepreneurship and just what it has done for them. Again, all the details are on our pages. So please, if you want to sign up or want to inquire more, go ahead and do that. I think the program is starting in a few weeks, and they'll give you all the details on our Transform Nations page and the other pages. But thank you for that. I think, George, we just have 15 minutes to go, and we would love, a lot of Kenyans are investing in land, and a lot of them getting into trouble with it and housing. I have some friends who has lost a lot of money in some of those investments, and other people own land that they've never even seen. And it's just lying there and there's nothing much they're doing. What are some of the factors to consider? You're in this, you've learned a lot, you're offering very good products. But for those of us out here looking at where to put our money in, what are the factors to consider, and what is it you have considered in your provision of those kind of products and investments?
Well, thank you, Pastor Simon. And very quickly, as you look for real estate, a few things that one must look at. One of them is that where are you buying from and whom are you buying from? The reason why I lost my 5 million is because I did not consider the seller. The seller was not genuine, and there are a few red flags I would have checked. You know, the office. I went to their office, it was looking Templar. And my conscience was telling me this could not be real. But I said, no, these guys are looking well built. They cannot con anyone. And I lost it, you know. Number two, the purpose. Why do you want to buy real estate? Is it for residential? Is it for commercial? Is it for keeping? Is it for building? And then once you see the purpose, look at the amenities. Is there somewhere you can be able to use public means, for example? Is there water there? Is there social amenities, hospitals, schools? And if they're not there, people like Optiven, we bring them. Actually, we don't wait for development. We bring development, whereby everything that you want, we bring it there. Something else to consider is the future prospect. There are people who really put their money in land, and maybe you may inquire from either Kenha or government ministries what is happening. If it is Naivasha, for example, what is happening in Naivasha, Nanyuki, what is happening in Nanyuki? And with that kind of information, if you are a speculator, you can be able to keep your property in that particular time. If you want to build, definitely you must be very keen to ensure that you don't go somewhere in the forest that even the children cannot get any access to any kind of amenity. And the final thing we say, location, location, location. Very important.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I mean, I like what you do. You buy a big piece of land, you sell plots, you provide amenities, and then people come and build for themselves, right?
Yes.
Would you say that's a better approach than building a house? And what's your general advice to, especially those who are starting off? Kenya is still very young. There are a lot of young families who just want to start out. Would you advise people to start out with buying small house already constructed or a plot? What's the reasoning around that?
One of the things that we face as a nation is that we face a big challenge in terms of Kenyan people accepting mortgages. Number one, our mortgage is very short, 10 years, 5 years, and many people cannot afford a mortgage. That's why we find that according to Kenya, according to Central Bank of Kenya, we have less than 25,000 mortgages, yet we have 43 million people. Yet people are still building. So majority of our people prefer us to buy this plot, then they build pole. And that's what you find that the government and the banks are wondering, how come people are not picking loans? It's because people go to SACCOs, they go to their savings, and then they can build a home even in 2 years, in 3 years, and you have seen this particular trend. Number two, when you build your own home, it's your taste. You can change the size, you can change the color, and when you buy ready-made, for us, we do a few ready-made, and you find that there's a lot of comments, sometimes negative comments that the kitchen is small. But if you do your own home, you can size your kitchen the way you need it, or your living room the way you want it. And definitely building is slightly cheaper because you can source materials cheaply, you can get a contractor and negotiate. But once you come to Optiven and maybe you have ready-made houses, we have our markup. So we have majority of our people preferring building homes for themselves, sometimes even supervising themselves. And you have seen this in our various projects in Machakos, in Kitengela, in Nyeri, in Kiambu, and there's a lot of development happening, Simon.
Well, and George, you need to come to Makueni. I'm in Makueni and we need something there. So we need to talk about that after this.
Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you for all of you who have tuned in and good words to say. You're happy about the stimulating conversations. Faith Harry is saying great discussions. Mr. George Washiri, the Optiven Group CEO, is always an inspiration, full of depth in matters investment. Thank you. Mary Wanyonyi says, Rina, you're a solution to our generation. God bless you. So good words for all of you there. But there are a few questions here that we could tackle. Maybe we can start the first two with you, Rina, and then one for George as he takes us into talking about social investment in the lives of people and just what they're doing. But Julian Musambi says, tell us about table banking. Table banking as an investment, its pros and cons. Is that an investment? You know how people put money together and then they lend each other around?
Yeah, I think well, you can consider it as an investment in as far as you're saving money together, and then when you have a need for borrowing that money to do something meaningful with it, or buying an asset or starting a business, then it's somewhere you can actually go back and do that. And there's different, I think table banking has been around for a while, and there's some different groups that have done amazing things through the table banking. So if you're in an environment where it's difficult to access loans from the bank, maybe you don't want to do it through the SACCO, and you have a strong community around you that you trust, then it's okay to use table banking. I have nothing against it. Yeah, there's a purpose for it. It's like joining a SACCO. You join a SACCO because you want to be able to borrow money at some point to be able to invest in an asset or start a business, and you can borrow 3 times, in some SACCOs even up to 5 times what you have saved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. And when we come to George, if you want to add something there, feel free to do that. Peter Njogu says, is it wise to finance your investments through debt? Rina.
So it depends. It depends. In some instances, if you have done your research, you've kind of checked and seen that this is an opportunity that makes sense. You're buying at a price that is good, hopefully below the market price. There is potential for your investment opportunity or whatever the business you're doing going to grow. And if you have the ability to pay the premiums, the monthly payments outside of that investment opportunity, if you have that ability, then it's okay. And the reason I say that is sometimes you can take a loan, and the idea is for you to borrow the money, and the investment that you're getting into is then supposed to pay the loan. The cash flows from that business or the investment should pay the loan. Now, you need to ensure that if that business doesn't work out, you're able to then pay those monthly repayments to the bank. Because if you can't, and the business doesn't work out, you can end up in lots of trouble. So I would say it's okay to take a loan to invest and to build your business. Some of us would not be where we are without loans. in our businesses, to be honest, but you have to be very careful about the kind of amount of money that you take and the ability to repay when the money falls due. Yeah.
Excellent. George, there are two questions here, and then you can go on and talk about investing in people, empowering people, and your foundation. But Austin Okile says, does capital determine what investments one can do? And then Grace from Uganda asks, hi there, any tips on saving? Things are really tight. There's some tips on saving there, but does capital determine the investment one can do?
Well, thank you. I would say that capital should not determine the investment you go into. The ideas determine the investment you go into, because you do not need capital to start the investment. You need the idea first. Once you have the idea first, you now talk to Rina. Where do I get the money? Number two, remember capital. Capital is not only money. There is social capital. There is energy capital. There is thinking capital. So you really need to think fast and then you act fast. Look at these Chinese guys. They came to Africa. They discovered that Africa, we do not have capacity to pay their debts. They say, hey, we'll come and do a super highway, manage it for 30 years, and then we rent it, we charge for it. That's what they are doing, even in our country, Kenya today. So you need thinking fast. Maybe that's a discussion of another day. Because I mentor people, I run a school called George Washuri School of Mentorship, and this issue of capital, they say, George, I can't start a business because I have no capital. Then I tell them, when I lost money, I was using my energy capital to do business. I could go to industry area, pick tissue paper, hawk them, leave my ID, take the margin. And that's how I was surviving. So we can discuss that further. Somebody says, what are some of the saving tips? Easy. This is my formula. This is how I do it. Easy. 70, 10, 10, 10. 10% you pay tithe because you are also owned by God himself. 10%, no discussions. Do a standing order to your spiritual leader. 10% you save. Yeah. Even if you're earning 10,000, 10% of that, you save it. The other 10%, sort out your insurances. Don't allow your car to have comprehensive insurance. You don't have even a personal accident cover. That's dangerous. I know Jesus Christ is our cover, but we need insurance. Let's be practical. 70%. Come to Optiven, GMC Press Kitengela, enjoy Nyamashoma, Kuku. Come to Optiven and they'll tell you where to invest 70%. Dress well. If you practice that, I tell you, you'll be having something to talk about. That's what I do. Of course, there are other ways of saving that I'll leave that to Rina Hicks.
Well, thank you very much. The 70, 10, 10, 10. I like that. And George, go ahead and just tell us about investing in people and just how important that is. That as you begin to make money, you begin to look at you're mentoring people, you're doing a foundation. Just say a little bit about the importance of that.
Well, thank you, Pastor. And our listeners, we say that the goal of making money is a very small goal, and you cannot live a life for yourself. That's a very small life. We live so that other people can be able to enjoy our energy, our intellect, our activities. And that's why at Optiven we say 5% of the money we get, we wire that money to Optiven Foundation. And this particular money has done a lot across 47 counties. One of the areas that this money goes is education. We target 2 orphans per county per year. There is no county we don't have people. Go to these schools, you find people sponsored by Optiven Foundation. Part of it, we also look at those people who don't do so well in class 8. Some people, you tell them they are dada heads. No, they're not dada heads. They are dedicated. they can develop into skills. So we pick 10 schools per county, 10 students per school. Then we pay that minimum of 5,000 and we buy them shoes and they're able to go through school. Good enough. We have now lobbied the government. These people now, they're being taken to TVET. They are able to go there. We lobby the government for them to get some stipend, some money to pay the fees. And I must thank the government that they are really been supporting Optiven Foundation. The same 5%, we have a program for old people, our shows. Most of us are in Nairobi. You don't ask your parents, what are you doing at home? You know, maybe they have a challenge. And we identify the very less fortunate. We do some homes for them. We did one in Wiki North, and it was amazing, Kakururo. And these shows were very, very excited. Of course, with the ministry, some of them, they got born again, and we are very excited. We also have a big program for the girls. We are currently doing about 28 schools whereby we supply sanitary towels to these girls, and they are becoming better, they are shining, they are smiling, and we are very happy about that. Then finally, as the foundation, we have a big program for people with cerebral palsy and people with back issues. We give food shares to these people, and it has been a program that has been running for the last 4 years. And I must thank people who may be listening to us, who donate food shares to us. And if you have any, talk to us on 0790 300 300. You can donate 1 or 2 wheelchairs. The demand is higher. Right now, we have about 2,000 people looking for wheelchairs. It is a shame we can only do very, very few. And then the same foundation, we do it on partnership with Optiven Real Estate. Personally, I sell books, I donate to the foundation, and you have 60 philanthropists whereby they also commit to the foundation. And the last program we are doing this year is Go Green. Go Green Awards. We are rewarding and awarding people who support the planet Earth. Anybody doing sustainability agenda, either you're reducing carbon dioxide, you are planting trees, you're doing organic farming, and you have a big event on the 11th that we are awarding people who are friends of the planet. Remember, all our viewers, all our listeners, we don't have any other planet. This is the only planet. The way you dispose waste, we must all be very careful to take care of this particular planet. That's about foundation, Pastor Simon, and you are welcome to partner with us.
I'll definitely talk with you, and we see some of the things that we can do. I've noted a few things that I would like for us to talk about. Well, unfortunately, time has really gone, but we have 2 questions here before we finish, Rina. But George, there's someone who is asking here whether you have any offer for us today.
Oh my goodness. In case you are in this particular program, and you talk to any of the members, I can see Faith Esther is on the platform, we can be able to give you a discount of 20,000 on any property that you buy from us, as long as you put this particular program. Thank you.
All right, excellent. That was Anne Watetu who asked that. So Anne, you have heard it. Please go ahead and do that. You get your 20,000 offer there. Anne Kamau is asking Rina as we close, what are your views about network marketing, such as Crowd1? Maybe you could say something on that, and then we'll go now and just talk about closing remarks. We'll have you, Rina, answer that and give your closing remarks, and then George will do the same. And maybe George will ask you just to say a quick prayer for all of us as we think about investing and touching the lives of others as well, not just investing for money. Rina.
Yeah. So I don't know that particular one you have mentioned. Network marketing or multi-level marketing is a sales strategy. And it is a sales strategy that is employed by companies globally to be able to sell as much as they can. It's just a sales strategy. I think what happens is when the strategy becomes about signing up others for the amount of money they're going to pay to join the network, then we start losing the plot. And because it needs to be about selling a product or a service. For as long as a network marketing strategy is selling a service or a product that makes sense, that can be sold and that exists then we're okay. But as soon as a network becomes about signing on people in your downline so that they can pay a certain amount of money that then benefits the network and yourself, then it starts to become some kind of a pyramid scheme. And that's when I put, sort of red flags on it. I think people need to be clear about the fact that if I'm joining a multi-level marketing scheme, I am joining it because I am good at selling and I can, talk to my networks and be able to sell. It's work. It's like starting a business. And so it's just that you won't go into the whole process of registering the name. Perhaps you'll just be able to ride on a brand that already exists, but it's really understanding that you'll have to put in the effort as you would if you are running your own business. So I think that those would be my comments about that one.
Okay, closing remarks about investments.
Well, thank you.
Maybe we can have Rina give our closing remarks, and then we have you answer and also give your closing remarks and pray. Rina, any closing remarks?
So first of all, thank you so much to Transform Nations for this this platform and the discussions that we've been having. I think it's really great. For those of you who are out there, just to understand that investing is not a difficult thing. I think one of the things I would say is, even if things are tough right now, try and have an attitude of gratitude. And when you have a gratitude sort of way of living, you find that you think clearer, you think logically, you find opportunities, you think creatively, and opportunities start to arise. And even ideas of how to save and how to earn more and how to optimize what you have, you start to get ideas and you start to talk to people and opportunities arise. But the moment you think negatively and things are so tough, and they could be tough and they are tough, but there's little pockets of beauty in our everyday lives. And so my encouragement to everybody is, even while we're going through this valley, find pockets of beauty that we can be grateful for every single day. And you'll find your attitude changes and opportunities will arise and you'll think more creatively and you will do well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. George?
Well, thank you. This was a very good program, especially for our people, as we talk about investments. And my parting shot is that even as our people really work hard, because I know Kenyan people, African people, they are hard workers. There are few things that you can be able to do, even as you look at that eye of the opportunity, identifying which area to really invest. There are three things that you can do. Number one is a commitment. Always be committed and pick up that talent that God has given you. Work on it, because Deuteronomy 8:18 says that it is Him, God Himself, who has given you power, given us power to create wealth. So you have power within yourself, the power to think, the energy capacity, you have emotional capacity, you have all these powers that God has given you. So commit them to whatever that you do. Rina says that you can't do everything. Identify that one thing you can do it and do it so well. If it is Optiven, you talk about value-added products, we are not doing commercial. We have done it so well that we are able to really move with speed. We are able to create jobs. Number two, connection. People by people. Connect with the people. We are in this particular forum. Know people, because once you know people, they will connect you to other people. And the C number three, because these are three C's of influence, is competency. Don't do your degree and say, I have finished school. No, keep reading. Keep checking your competence. So if you're doing real estate, understand real estate. If you're doing banking, understand banking. And once you are common these three C's, commitment plus connection plus competency, I can tell you, success will be your middle name. It is possible. It is doable because you have the capacity. Keep that eye of investment, and I can tell you, you are going to make it. One guy told me, a friend of mine, the late Bob Collymore said, he was asked, how comes you're making billions when your competition is making equivalent losses of billions? And the guy said, three things: partnership. Number two, he said, innovation. Number three, he said, giving back.
to the society. And for us at Optiven, we picked it. We do partnerships, we give back, we innovate. We are among the most innovative companies in real estate in Kenya today. Why? Because we are picking from the best. So pick from the best and connect with people. Without much ado, Pastor Simon, I think I can pray for these wonderful and great people. Let's pray.
Sure.
Father, we thank you for this wonderful program. Thank you, Father, for Simon Bevy, for an amazing, amazing commitment that he is doing to inspire, to empower people, Jehovah God, especially in parenting men, oh Jehovah God, through his program. May you bless him, oh my Father. Thank you, Father, for all our listeners, oh Jehovah, wherever they are. Whatever they touch, may you bless them, oh my Father. Give them new thinking. Thank you, Father, for Rina Hicks, for the job she's doing online and also mentoring people. Thank you, Jehovah God, my Father, for all our listeners. Those who are going to listen this link afterwards, we speak a blessing unto them. Open golden doors for them that they shall succeed, they shall prosper, they shall be able to create a difference. And we pray this trusting in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Well, thank you all of you that have joined us from Kenya and other nations around us. We are glad that you've been faithful and committed, loyal to Sober Sunday. We continue. Next week, we begin to wrap up this discussion on finances, and we want to invite you to join us. Thank you very much, George. We are so blessed. And Rina Hicks as well. Remember some of the opportunities that we have talked about today that you can get involved in. And I just want to leave you. And also remember BE, Biblical Entrepreneurship. I really want to encourage many of you to join that, especially those who are doing business. This will be excellent for you. And the programs we have as well starting this week. I want to leave you with Genesis chapter 2, verse 15. Man was created, given a place with a lot of wealth, and he was taught to do two things. He was taught protect it, manage it in such a way that you don't lose what you've been given. And number two, he was taught build it, cultivate it, make something out of it. You have the raw material, you can get a lot out of it. Build it, add value, and that's why we're talking about investments. The other has been given to us, talents we have. Let's protect them so that we don't lose them, manage them well, but then use them to improve our lives and be it. Thank you, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. We are grateful that you made time. May the Lord bless you. And all of you out there, good night, or whatever your time may be. Have yourself a good time. Thank you.